management of self, we talk about vision, knowing where you are going. We talk about information, knowing what it takes to get there. We talk about diligence, giving it what it takes to get there. And we talk about sacrifice, going the extra mile if it so demands, like it will always demand to get there. Paul the Great said, I'm what I am by the grace of God, yet not I. But I labored more abundantly than them all. Yet not I, but the grace of God that was with me. I labored more abundantly than them all. Say with me, labor. It is the quality of your labor that defines the limits of your future. The quality of your labor is what defines the limits of your future. And only those who care to go the extra mile command the extraordinary results. There is nothing extraordinary on its own, but by man's extraordinary input. Because like begets like. Your extraordinary input in your field qualifies you for extraordinary performance. And it's your performance rating that defines your leadership rating. So leadership is not in having responsibility. Leadership is in taking responsibility. Amen. It's in taking responsibility. If someone preaching as simple a message as Billy Graham has been preaching for over 60 years could become a world-class leader by a simple message, that will tell you the extraordinary input, the quality of his self-management. Somebody hear what I'm saying? The quality of his self-discipline. Simple message. I don't think he's ever prayed for the sick in his crusade forever. You need to be saved. Come on here now, right now. I've been doing this 50 years. Come. And then the ones who are saved 1940 are still there giving testimonies. You can make anything extraordinary out of your ordinary mandate. You can make anything extraordinary out of your own ordinary field. You can make anything extraordinary out of your own ordinary calling. You can make anything extraordinary. That tells you, therefore, that the overemphasis on vision is great, but it's not the whole truth. If it is only vision, I saw one for 18 hours. I should go and rest. 18 straight hours, open eye vision. Not that you slept and then somebody spoke to you. I was awake. We were speaking to each other. If destiny answers to vision, I should be the most relaxed person in the world. God spoke to me and I spoke to him 18 hours at a go. Thank God for visions. I wish vision were just what guarantees you arrive at your destination. Oh, everybody will be there. It's more than that. That's why I said leadership is a product of efficient management of self, then efficient management of task. That's where skill development comes in. Come on, say skill. Efficient management of task. There are people in businesses here who perhaps have never read any literature regarding their business in their life. They are running it on common sense platform. So they end up with common results and in a common place. And so they call them common man. You know, people are always fighting about the common man, the common man. There are many common men because it's a lot of cost to get out of the common man level. So it's a lot of cost. Skill. Management of task is essentially a function of quality of skill at your disposal. Come and say skill. Now, you won't be surprised that there are people today in ministry who may not be able to define what is ministry. Talk less of how does it run. People are building factories today without knowing next to nothing. They just have money and then they think the next thing to do is to build a factory, a pharmaceutical factory. He has no idea of any kind on how it is to be built and what is to be done, and he wants to make a mark there. Particularly among our own part of the world, our race. There is no genuine value for skill. We leave issues to chances. And then religiously, I know God will do it. God will do what? Did he wear your clothes for you this morning? He said, God, I thank you. Now I just came back from the meeting last night and I love you. So wear my clothes for me. You walk down here naked this morning. Every leadership endeavor or vision will always demand skill. I love the way David said it. It's said in Psalm 78 and verse 72. He said, he led them with the integrity of his heart and by the skillfulness of his hands. Skillfulness of his hands. Management of task. As soon as your task is defined, then your responsibility is to build up the required skill in accomplishing it. You know what I'm saying? When Covenant University's vision came, great, it was a bright vision. But then, what does it take to run it? So I went after 9 world-class universities to understudy the nitty-gritties of their founding and their program development and what has sustained them over the years. And after those 9 extensive explorative studies, I propounded what I consider the philosophical foundation of Covenant University, built up its stamps and ready to fly. And I proclaim this is the new generation Harvard. And that's what it is today. The #1 engineering faculty all across Africa. There are equipments there that you don't find anywhere else. Skill. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. Say with me, no spiritual substitute. You don't fly a plane by spirituality. You speak in tongues, then you enter the cockpit, and then you start the engine. You don't even know where to start. The moment you mention your name, and they ask you their questions, since you don't know how to answer, they know that a suicide bomber is there. All the London police will gather in 1 minute. And then the firefighter, everybody, the Air Force, because there's a suicide bomber in the cockpit. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. That's why many charismatics are grounded. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. No ministry, for instance, will outgrow the quality of its structure. No company has a future without an efficient organizational structure. And there are many businesses here that don't have no structure at all. Then go to work in the morning, sell, buy, and spend. And spend anything, anyhow. Everything that you sell to you is spendable. Capital plus profit. And after some time, we don't even know what happened. Satan, I bind you. Satan will be laughing. Say, I didn't come there. You are the only one. You better bind yourself and free yourself. I will never approach any task in my life on common sense. When we are going to start Word of Faith Bible Institute, I went through 8 Bible schools, gather all their materials, study all their materials, ask those I could meet questions among them, and then from their questions I knew why they were where they were, so I would not repeat their problem. There is no substitute for what? Skill. So our Bible school began in 1986 and is growing in tempo continuously. One of my sons who graduated in the Bible school in 1995 has one of the largest churches in Nigeria today. They are building a 40,000 seat auditorium right now. And took me 1 year, 3 months to build the curriculum. There is no substitute for skill, no spiritual substitute. There is no prayer substitute. There is no fasting substitute. All prayers and fasting will still require that to acquire the skill. And efficient management of material resources. You believe in budgeting your resources, time and energy and finance. You could never find a poor time manager who imagines a leader. Great leaders are efficient managers of time. They don't only go to work, they actually work. Show me any great leader of worth. He's a sensitive time manager. He's a committed energy manager. He knows where to invest his strength, and he does. He runs his life on well-defined budgets. He's not a careless spender. He has his priorities right. He invests on things that add value to him and enhances the values he adds to others. Leadership is the product of efficient management of self, task, material, and human resources. And management of self is the baseline for your leadership heritage to have expression. That's where it begins from. When you fail at self-management, you never emerge a leader in any field. Reprogram your life, because there is more inside you than you ever can imagine. It's just to prime it so it can move into motion. There is a lot inside you. There's a lot inside you that's awaiting you, taking full responsibility to be made manifest.